Mark's heart raced as his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Emily's cheating with her boss, Ryan. He laughed it off. His wife of 10 years, unfaithful, impossible. They were planning their dream anniversary in Chicago. But the message lingered, sharp as a blade. Was his perfect life a lie? Mark Thompson, a 35-year-old financial analyst, had always prided himself on noticing the little things. He remembered the exact date, June 12, 2015, when he and Emily shared their first kiss under the twinkling lights of Navy Pier. He could still taste the caramel popcorn they'd shared, her laughter echoing as the Ferris wheel spun above Lake Michigan. Emily, 33, a marketing manager with a knack for turning ideas into campaigns, was his anchor. Her quick texts during lunch breaks, usually a meme or a heart emoji, kept their connection alive through long workdays. They were a team, splitting bills, cheering each other's promotions, and planning a 10th anniversary trip to the Bahamas. Mark had been saving for months, secretly booking a beachfront resort and designing a necklace engraved with their initials. It was going to be perfect. But perfection, Mark was about to learn, could hide cracks. On a crisp Chicago Tuesday, while he was crunching numbers for a client, his phone vibrated. An unknown number. The message was short, cold, and gut-punching. Emily's cheating with her boss, Ryan. His first instinct was to laugh. A prank, surely. Emily, with her goofy dance moves and their kitchen and habit of stealing his hoodies, wasn't the type to betray him. And Ryan? Her polished boss, always posting about his kids' soccer games on social media, seemed like the last guy to wreck a marriage. Mark deleted the text, shoving it out of his mind. But as he sipped his coffee, the words clawed back. What if? That evening, Emily came home at her usual 6:45 p.m., kicking off her shoes and tossing her purse on the couch. Long day, she sighed, pecking Mark's cheek before grabbing a water bottle. She rambled about a new project, a client's impossible demands, and the office's broken coffee machine. Mark listened, searching her words for clues. She used to talk about Ryan constantly, his bad puns, his knack for calming tense meetings. Tonight, his name didn't come up once. It was subtle, but Mark's detail-oriented brain caught it. "How's Ryan doing?" he asked, keeping his tone light, stirring pasta on the stove. Emily froze, just for a split second before flashing a smile. "Oh, he's fine. Busy, I guess." Her voice was too casual, her eyes darting to her phone. She changed the subject, asking about Mark's day. He answered on autopilot, his mind racing. Was he paranoid, or was her silence about Ryan a red flag? The anonymous text replayed in his head, each word heavier than before. Sleep didn't come easy that night. Emily scrolled through her phone beside him, oblivious to the storm brewing in Mark's chest. He stared at the ceiling, replaying their 10 years together. The late-night talks, the road trips to Wisconsin, the way she'd squeeze his hand during scary movies. Could that Emily, the one who'd cried when he proposed, be hiding something? By 3 a.m., doubt had taken root. He needed answers, not guesses. The next morning, while Emily showered, Mark did something he never imagined. He Googled how to track a car's location. His fingers hesitated over the keyboard, guilt gnawing at him. This wasn't him. He was the guy who planned surprises, not the one spying on his wife. But the text had planted a seed, and it was growing fast. He ordered a small GPS tracker, discreet enough to hide in Emily's car. When it arrived 2 days later, he waited for a moment. She was distracted, ironing her blouse for a meeting, and slipped the device under the dashboard while pretending to clean her car. His hand shook, but he pressed on. For days, the tracker showed nothing unusual. Emily's routine was clockwork. Home to her downtown office, sometimes a stop at the grocery store, then back by evening. Mark checked the app obsessively, relief mixing with lingering suspicion. Maybe the text was a cruel joke. Maybe someone had a grudge against Ryan, or even Emily. But then, at dinner on Friday, Mark tried again. "So, no funny Ryan stories lately?" he asked, passing her the salad. Emily's fork paused midair. "Not really," she said, her voice clipped. "He's been distant. His divorce is messing with him." She took a quick sip of wine, avoiding his gaze. Divorce? Mark's pulse quickened. Ryan, the family man with the perfect Instagram life, was single? Since when? Emily hadn't mentioned it before. The air felt thick, her words ringing hollow. Mark nodded, pretending to let it go, but inside his trust was fraying. That night, he ordered a tiny audio recorder, no bigger than a coin, that synced his phone. The decision felt like crossing a line he couldn't uncross. But the need to know was stronger than his guilt. When Emily left her purse on the counter the next morning, Mark slipped the device into a seam, his heart pounding. As she kissed him goodbye and headed to work, he sat on the couch, staring at the app. Whatever truth was out there, he was about to find it. And deep down, he feared it would change everything. Mark's hands trembled as he opened the audio app, the tiny recorder in Emily's purse now live. Her morning at work sounded normal. Meetings, chatter, coffee complaints. But as noon hit, a man's voice whispered through the feed. You're all I think about. Mark's heart stopped. It was Ryan. Was this the truth he dreaded, or just the start of a bigger unraveling? Mark sat frozen on the couch, phone in hand, the audio recorder's feed streaming Emily's day in real time. The guilt of spying gnawed at him, but the anonymous text, Emily's cheating with her boss, Ryan, had left him no choice. He'd already tracked her car for days, finding nothing but her usual routine: office, grocery store, home. The GPS had eased his mind briefly, but Emily's sudden silence about Ryan, her boss, and her cagey mention of his divorce reignited his suspicions. Now, the tiny device hidden in her purse was his last hope for clarity. The morning feed was mundane. Emily greeted colleagues, laughed about a jammed printer, and grumbled about a late report. Mark's chest loosened slightly. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe the text was a sick prank. But just before noon, the audio shifted. Background chatter faded, replaced by footsteps and the soft click of a door. Then a man's voice, low and familiar. You're all I think about. Mark's breath caught. It was Ryan, unmistakable from the company dinners where he'd played the charming family man. Emily's laugh followed, soft and shy, the same laugh she'd given Mark when he proposed at Navy Pier. It felt like a punch to the gut. I couldn't stop thinking about you last night, Ryan continued, his tone intimate. Emily's voice, barely above a whisper, replied, You're making this so hard. Mark's fingers tightened around the phone, his knuckles white. The audio grew muffled. Whispers, a rustle, the unmistakable sound of a kiss. Then Emily's voice again. Not here, someone might walk in. Ryan chuckled. Everyone's at the budget meeting upstairs. Just us. More whispers, more kisses, and then silence as they moved out of range. Mark stopped the playback, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might burst. He didn't need to hear more. The truth was undeniable. He sat there, staring at the blank phone screen, the weight of betrayal sinking in. 10 years of marriage, late-night talks, shared dreams, plans for a Bahamas anniversary, shattered in a single audio clip. Emily, his Emily, was cheating with Ryan, her newly divorced boss. The man who'd once clapped Mark's shoulder at a holiday party, saying, You're a lucky guy. The irony burned. Mark's first instinct was to call her, to scream, to demand answers. But he held back. Confronting her now would be messy, emotional, and he needed to be sure of his next move. He saved the audio, backed it up, and forced himself to breathe. The day dragged on, each hour heavier than the last. Emily texted at 3 p.m. Stuck late, big project. Home by 8. Mark's jaw clenched. Another lie. The GPS showed her car still parked at the office, but he knew she wasn't working. When Emily walked through the door at 7:50 p.m., she was all smiles, holding a takeout bag from their favorite Thai place. Thought we could have a chill night, she said, setting the bag down and kissing his cheek. Mark nodded, his face a mask of calm. Inside, he was screaming. Her casual affection, once comforting, now felt like a performance. Over dinner, she chatted about a co-worker's botch presentation, avoiding any mention of Ryan. Mark played along, asking questions, watching her closely. Her hands fidgeted with her napkin. Her eyes darted away when he lingered too long. She was hiding something, and he had the proof. After dinner, as Emily scrolled through her phone on the couch, Mark made his move. So, how's Ryan holding up with his divorce? He asked, voice steady. Emily's fingers paused on her screen, her shoulders tensing. He's managing, she said, forcing a smile. It's tough, you know. Mark nodded, his stomach churning. Must be weird, working so closely with him now, he pressed. Emily's laugh was too quick. Not really. Just work. She stood abruptly, saying she needed a shower, and left the room. Mark's resolve hardened. He couldn't keep pretending, but he also couldn't confront her yet, not without a plan. The audio was damning, but he needed to know how deep this went. Was it a fling? A full-blown affair? How long had she been lying? He spent the night researching private investigators, his mind racing with scenarios. Hiring someone felt extreme, but he needed more than a single recording to face the wreckage of his marriage. The next morning, Emily left for work, as usual, oblivious to the storm brewing. Mark contacted a discreet PI, Sarah, who specialized in infidelity cases. Over a tense coffee meeting, he handed over the audio and GPS data. "I need to know everything," he said, his voice low. Sarah nodded, her expression professional. "Give me a week. I'll track their movements, cross-reference patterns. If there's more, I'll find it." Mark agreed, handing over a deposit, his savings for the anniversary trip, now funding his search for the truth. As he drove home, his phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. "Check her work emails if you want more proof." Mark's blood ran cold. Whoever this was, maybe Ryan's ex-wife, maybe someone else, knew too much. He didn't reply, but the message pushed him further. That night, while Emily slept, he accessed her laptop, her password unchanged from their shared Netflix days. Her work email was a minefield. Flirty exchanges with Ryan, deleted but recoverable, confirming meetings in private offices, late-night work sessions, and a weekend conference that never existed. Each email was a fresh wound, but Mark read on, piecing together a timeline. The affair had been going on for months. By the end of the week, Sarah's report confirmed it all. Photos of Emily and Ryan at a hotel, hand in hand, laughing like a couple. Mark stared at the images, his love for Emily warring with his rage. The Bahamas trip, the necklace, the life they'd built. It was all a lie. But as he prepared to confront her, a new question burned. Who sent the texts? And why were they helping him tear down his own world? Mark clutched the photos from the PI, Emily and Ryan, laughing hand in hand at a hotel. His heart shattered, but the anonymous texter struck again. She's not the only one. Was Ryan cheating on Emily too? As Mark planned to confront his wife, a new truth loomed, threatening to unravel more than just their marriage. Mark's world was collapsing, each piece of evidence a heavier blow. The audio from the recorder in Emily's purse had confirmed her affair with Ryan, her boss, and the private investigator's photos, Emily and Ryan at a downtown Chicago hotel, their smiles carefree, sealed the truth. 10 years of marriage, countless shared moments, and Mark's secret plans for a Bahamas anniversary were now ashes. He sat at his desk, the PI's report spread out, his phone silent, but heavy with the weight of those anonymous texts. The latest one, received just hours ago. Nod at him. She's not the only one. The words hinted at a deeper betrayal, but Mark wasn't sure he could handle more. He hadn't confronted Emily yet. Every night, she came home, kissed his cheek, and acted like nothing was wrong, her lies piling up like unpaid bills. Mark played along, his anger simmering beneath a calm facade. He needed a plan, not just a reaction. The PI, Sarah, had delivered more than photos. Timestamps showed Emily and Ryan meeting at least twice a week for months, often during late work hours. Mark's stomach churned at the thought of her lying about deadlines while slipping away with Ryan. But the texter's cryptic message suggested Ryan might be playing a bigger game. Was he cheating on Emily too? Mark needed to know before he faced her. He met Sarah again at a quiet diner, away from prying eyes. "Can you dig into Ryan?" Mark asked, sliding the latest text across the table. Sarah scanned it, her brow furrowing. "Could be his ex-wife, stirring trouble," she said. "Or someone else at the company. I'll tail him, check his patterns." Mark nodded, his savings for the anniversary trip now fueling this investigation. "Find out who's sending these texts too," he added. Sarah agreed, promising results in days. That night, Emily sent something off. Over dinner, takeout pizza she grabbed to make things easy. She studied Mark. "You've been quiet lately," she said, her tone probing. Mark forced a smile. "Just work stress." She reached for his hand, but he pulled back, pretending to grab his drink. Her touch, once his comfort, now felt like a lie. She didn't push, but her eyes lingered, as if she knew the ground was shifting beneath them. Sarah's next report came faster than expected. By Friday, she sent a file. Ryan wasn't just seeing Emily. He'd been spotted with another woman, a young intern named Chloe, at a bar near the office. Photos showed them laughing, her hand on his arm, their heads close. Mark stared at the images, a mix of rage and grim satisfaction washing over him. Ryan wasn't just a cheater. He was a predator, juggling multiple affairs while his marriage crumbled. The anonymous texter's words, "She's not the only one," made sense now. But who was warning him? And why? Mark decided to test the texter. He replied to the unknown number. "Who are you? Why are you telling me this?" The response came within minutes. "I know what it's like to be betrayed. You deserve the truth." No name, no details, but the tone felt personal, like someone who'd been burned by Ryan too. Mark suspected Ryan's ex-wife, Claire, but had no proof. He forwarded the exchange to Sarah, who was now cross-referencing Ryan's contacts to trace the number. Meanwhile, Emily's behavior grew erratic. She started staying later at work, claiming a big campaign launch. Mark checked the GPS tracker. Her car stayed at the office, but Sarah's reports hinted she and Ryan were sneaking to a nearby hotel during lunch breaks. Mark's anger hardened into resolve. He couldn't keep living this lie, but he needed one final piece of evidence to confront her cleanly. He asked Sarah to get video, something undeniable, to ensure Emily couldn't twist the truth. On Monday, Sarah delivered. The video, grainy but clear, showed Emily and Ryan slipping into a hotel elevator, his arm around her waist. Mark watched it once, then deleted it from his phone, the image seared into his mind. He spent the day preparing, moving the anniversary necklace, engraved with their initials, from its hiding spot to the dining table. He wouldn't give it to her, but it would be a reminder of what she'd thrown away. He also printed the PI's photos and saved the audio files to a USB drive. When Emily came home, he'd be ready. That evening, Emily walked in at 8 p.m., her usual cheer replaced by exhaustion. "Rough day," she muttered, dropping her purse. Mark stood by the table, the necklace box in plain view. "We need to talk," he said, his voice steady but cold. Emily's eyes flicked to the box, then to him, confusion shifting to fear. "What's this about?" she asked, her voice tight. Mark didn't answer. He pressed play on his phone, letting Ryan's voice fill the room. You're all I think about." Emily's face went pale, her hands trembling. "Mark, I can explain." "Don't." He cut her off, sliding the photos across the table. "I know everything." Emily sank into a chair, tears welling up, but Mark felt no pity. "You have 1 hour to pack and leave," he said, his voice unwavering. Emily sobbed, trying to speak, but he held up a hand. "Listen to the rest." The audio played on, kisses, whispers, plans. When it ended, the silence was deafening. Emily didn't argue. She grabbed a suitcase, her movements frantic, and left without another word, the door slamming behind her. Mark sat alone, the necklace box still on the table, a symbol of a love he'd thought was unbreakable. His phone buzzed again. "You did the right thing." The anonymous texter, still watching. Mark didn't reply. He didn't know if he felt relief or devastation, but one thing was clear. The truth had kicked the door down, and there was no going back. Emily fled to Ryan's apartment, suitcase in hand, seeking comfort after Mark's confrontation. But when the door opened, she faced a new betrayal. Ryan with Chloe, the office intern, in a shirt. Stunned, Emily realized she wasn't just a cheater, she was a fool. As she walked away, a new text from the mystery sender lit up her phone. "Now you know how it feels." Emily's world spun as she stood on Ryan's doorstep, her suitcase heavy in her hand. The confrontation with Mark had been brutal. The audio of her and Ryan, the damning photos, his cold demand to leave. 10 years of marriage, gone in an hour. She'd driven to Ryan's upscale Chicago apartment, desperate for answers, for reassurance that their affair meant something. But when Ryan cracked open the door, his face pale and hesitant, Emily's gut twisted. "Now's not a good time," he muttered, glancing back inside. "Not a good time." Emily's voice cracked, her tears barely dry from Mark's ultimatum. "David kicked me out because of us." Before Ryan could respond, a woman's voice called from inside. "Babe, who's at the door?" Emily froze. The voice was familiar. Chloe, the 24-year-old intern from her office, always giggling at Ryan's jokes. Chloe appeared, wearing nothing but Ryan's oversized shirt, her hair mussed. Emily's breath caught, the betrayal cutting deeper than Mark's accusations. Ryan wasn't just cheating with her, he was cheating on her. "You're disgusting," Emily spat, her voice trembling. She turned, dragging her suitcase down the dark street, the Chicago wind biting at her. Her phone buzzed as she reached her car. Another text from the unknown number that had tipped off Mark. "Now you know how it feels." Emily's hands shook as she read it, the words a mirror to her own guilt. Whoever this was, Ryan's ex-wife, Claire, or someone else, knew exactly how to twist the knife. She didn't reply, too raw to process it. She drove to her friend Lisa's apartment, collapsing on the couch in silence, refusing to explain beyond a choked. Mark and I fought. The next morning, Emily faced a new reality. She couldn't return to work, not with Ryan there, not with Chloe's smug smile haunting her. She drafted a resignation email, citing personal reasons, and sent it before she could second-guess herself. By noon, she was at the office, clearing her desk. Colleagues whispered, their glances sharp with judgment. Emily grabbed her wilted desk plant, a few pens, and a photo of her team, smiling faces that now felt like strangers. She left without a word, her severance papers signed, her career another casualty of her choices. Meanwhile, Mark was rebuilding step by painful step. The morning after kicking Emily out, he canceled the Bahamas trip, the refund a bitter reminder of his shattered plans. The custom necklace, engraved with their initials, went to a charity auction. He couldn't bear to look at it. He started therapy, meeting a counselor named Dr. Patel, who helped him untangle the rage and grief knotting his chest. "You're not defined by her betrayal," Dr. Patel said, urging him to reclaim his life. Mark threw himself into routine. Morning runs along Lake Michigan, dinners with old friends, a new project at work that earned him a nod from his boss. Each step felt like defiance against the pain. Back at Lisa's, Emily wrestled with her own wreckage. She spent nights replaying her choices, how Ryan's charm had pulled her in, how she'd justified the affair as a thrill, not a betrayal. She'd lied to Mark, to herself, believing she could keep both lives. Now, she had neither. She booked a therapy session, her first ever, and admitted to the counselor, "I thought I was in control, but I destroyed everything." The words felt like a confession, the first honest thing she'd said in months. Sarah, the private investigator, sent Mark a final report. She traced the anonymous texts to a burner phone, likely Claire, Ryan's ex-wife, who'd suspected his affairs long before their divorce. Sarah also uncovered rumors at Ryan's company. Chloe wasn't his only fling. His reputation was crumbling, with whispers of a demotion circling. Mark felt a flicker of vindication, but no joy. He texted the unknown number one last time. "Thank you." The reply was instant. "You're welcome. Move on." He didn't know if it was Claire, but the words felt like permission to let go. Emily, too, faced a reckoning. Lisa pushed her to confront her shame, not hide from it. She started volunteering at a local shelter, organizing donations, finding purpose in small acts. It didn't erase her guilt, but it was a start. One night, scrolling through her phone, she found an old photo of her and Mark at Navy Pier, laughing on the Ferris wheel. She deleted it, not out of anger, but because holding onto it hurt too much. She betrayed him, and now she had to live with it. Mark, meanwhile, kept moving forward. He joined a gym, rekindling a love for boxing he'd abandoned years ago. Each punch felt like shedding a layer of pain. At work, he pitched a new financial model, earning praise and a potential promotion. He wasn't healed, but he was alive, and that was enough for now. As he walked home one evening, his phone stayed silent. No texts, no lies, just the hum of the city. For the first time in weeks, he felt a faint stir of hope, like a crack of light in a long, dark tunnel. Mark stood at Navy Pier, where he once proposed to Emily, the wind carrying memories of a love now gone. A final text from the mystery sender, Ryan's ex-wife, revealed the full scope of the betrayal. As Emily faced the ruins of her choices, Mark found strength in letting go. Could he rebuild, or would the scars define him? Mark walked along Navy Pier, the Chicago skyline sharp against the evening sky. The Ferris wheel spun slowly, its lights a faint echo of the night he'd proposed to Emily 10 years ago. That moment, her eyes bright, her hands squeezing his, felt like another lifetime. Now, the pier was just a place, stripped of its magic by her betrayal. Mark had confronted her with the audio of her affair with Ryan, her boss, backed by photos from Sarah, the private investigator. Emily was gone, her suitcase packed in an hour, her lies exposed. The anonymous text that sparked it all, Emily's cheating with her boss, Ryan, had been his lifeline, and their final message lingered. "You're welcome. Move on." Sarah's last report confirmed the texter was Claire, Ryan's ex-wife. She'd sent Mark one more message, unprompted, tying up the loose ends. Ryan's been cheating for years. I found out about Emily, then Chloe. Warned you to spare you my pain. Mark read it on the pier, the wind biting his face. Claire's words weren't just closure. They were a mirror. She'd been betrayed too, her marriage to Ryan destroyed by his patterns. Mark typed a simple thanks and blocked the number. He didn't need more ghosts. Emily, meanwhile, was piecing together her own wreckage. After discovering Ryan's fling with Chloe, the office intern, at his apartment, she'd quit her job, unable to face the whispers or her own shame. She'd moved into a small apartment, funded by her severance, and leaned on therapy to untangle her guilt. I thought I could have it all, she told her counselor, her voice raw. Mark's love, Ryan's excitement. I was wrong. Volunteering at a shelter kept her grounded, sorting clothes and serving meals. It wasn't redemption, but it was purpose. She avoided social media, where Ryan's life was unraveling. His demotion public, his charm no longer enough to shield him from office gossip. Mark focused on rebuilding. Therapy with Dr. Patel helped him name the pain, betrayal, yes, but also the sting of his own blindness. He'd missed Emily's distance, her lies, too caught up in their perfect life. Boxing became his release, each jab at the gym purging a piece of his anger. At work, his new financial model won him a promotion, the raise a small victory. He reconnected with friends, joining them for beers and Cubs games, laughter coming easier now. The Bahamas trip he'd planned was a distant memory, the money redirected to a solo hiking trip in Colorado. He needed to reclaim himself, not just mourn what was lost. Emily's path was harder. She wrote Mark a letter, not expecting forgiveness, but needing to own her actions. I broke us, she wrote, and I'll carry that forever. She didn't send it, tucking it into a drawer. Instead, she called her sister, confessing everything. The conversation was brutal but cleansing, her sister's tough love forcing her to face the truth. She'd chosen Ryan's fleeting thrill over Mark's steady devotion. She started journaling, each entry a step toward understanding why she'd risked it all. At the shelter, she bonded with a co-worker, Maria, whose no-nonsense advice, own your mess, then fix it, became her mantra. Ryan's downfall spread like wildfire. A colleague leaked his affairs to HR, and his demotion to a lower role came with a pay cut and sidelong glances. Chloe, the intern, distanced herself, chasing a new fling. Ryan's social media, once full of family photos, went silent. Mark heard the news through a co-worker and felt no satisfaction, only a quiet resolve. Ryan's consequences were his own. Mark's focus was forward. One Sunday, Mark returned to Navy Pier, sitting on the bench where he'd once dreamed of growing old with Emily. He didn't feel anger anymore, just a calm acceptance. The betrayal had carved a wound, but it was healing slowly. He thought of Claire, whose warning had saved him from deeper lies, and of Emily, who'd face her own reckoning. His phone buzzed, a text from a friend inviting him to a concert. He smiled, typing, "I'm in." The pier, the city, his life, they weren't defined by Emily's choices anymore. Emily, too, found a flicker of hope. At the shelter, she helped a single mother find a job, the woman's gratitude warming her. She signed up for a marketing course, aiming to rebuild her career on her terms. One night, walking home, she passed a couple laughing by the lake. She didn't flinch or envy them. She just kept walking, her steps lighter. She'd lost Mark, her job, her pride, but she was starting to find herself. Mark stood, leaving the pier behind. The truth had shattered him, but it had also set him free. Life hadn't given him the ending he'd planned, but as the city hummed around him, he saw it for what it was, a new beginning.